Today's video is sponsored by Tokovas boots. So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. Got a nice old stack of red oak here. 9 high, probably around 250, 275 board feet right there. I am adding to my retirement fund. I mentioned the other day in a video, what I would like to do is take at least one day, say every 2 weeks, and saw, stack, and sticker some lumber, and just keep letting that accumulate. Then we start kiln drying the lumber, and then upon retirement, whenever that may be, I'd like to be in a position to have a gigantic wood shop, plus plenty of room for storage, and have thousands upon thousands of board feet of really nice lumber in there. And then throughout my retirement, build some stuff, sell some lumber, some live edge slabs. That's the plan. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I have to say, that's a pretty nice stickering job right there. That is. Like I always say, if you're going to go to all the trouble of getting logs to the mill, put the time in to saw them, all the labor involved in moving the lumber, you might as well see it through and do a proper job of stacking and stickering that lumber. Now, once you get to this part right here, the hard part is basically over. I'll keep adding to this stack, I don't know, probably about high, 750, 800 board feet. Then I like to put a couple straps around it, cinch them down nice and tight. This will have to air dry for at least 6 months since it's red oak before it goes into the kiln. But the next move of this stack of lumber will be done with the skid loader and forks, put right inside the kiln dry it, and at that point it can go inside and you can take it off the sticks. So it basically will take up half the amount of room at that point. So by no means is all the work done, but I think you can say the hard work is done at this point. I've also been on a hot streak when it comes to running the mill. This is what you're after right here when you're sawing these hardwoods. That is the center of the log right there. This really has no good use except for, cribbing or blocking or even firewood. It's going to crack and check real bad. So you want to end up with the center of your log right there in the center of a 4x4. I just realized something. 9 high is the perfect height to sit down and take a little break. It is. It's perfect. As I mentioned earlier, today's video is sponsored by Tokovas boots, and they make a quality boot. These are the ones that I wear each and every day. No exaggeration, I put these boots on my feet around 5:30 each morning, and they stay on till about 8:30 each night. They keep my feet nice and comfortable and safe. Tokovas boots meet the ASTM standards for safety toe, slip resistance, and protection from electrical hazards to ensure safety and comfort in every environment. The safety toe actually saved me from injury just the other day. I was down here at the wood yard. I was holding a log up off the ground with the excavator, and I was cutting a saw log with the chainsaw. I had my toe a little bit too close. It dropped right on my toe. So bad, in fact, that my foot was stuck underneath the log. No injury whatsoever, a little bit of embarrassment. I had a buddy coming by to pick up some firewood, and I'm standing down there trying to pull my foot out from underneath the log. I finally got it out, but safety toe is a must-have when I'm working down here at the wood yard, and it works fantastic. Their boots are waterproof and stain-proof. That's right. Unfortunately, I had a little incident with a gallon of stain just the other day. If you ever get a chance to visit one of their stores, it is well worth the trip. You can take advantage of their complimentary drinks, free boot shines, and get the perfect fit with their expert staff. Tokovas also offers complimentary branding and leather stamping if you want to personalize your boots or fine leather goods. But anyway, they make a great boot, they really do. If they didn't, I wouldn't be here talking to you about it today. Click the link in my description or scan the QR code on screen to get your new favorite pair of boots today. right, so I changed gears from sawmilling to driveway repair. I'm down here on my sister's driveway. Now, this used to be my grandmother's driveway. And as long as I can remember, I mean, my entire life, this 150-yard stretch right here, up past the skid loader another 50 yards, has been a bottomless pit. There's all kind of clay down here, and I've dug it out, but there's just no end to it. And no matter what you do, it always kind of wallows out on this side. You get a big hole high on that side. This gets lower than the ditch. The water comes out on the driveway, and it just makes it worse. But there's just no bottom to it. And in here, there's big chunks of sand rock, all kind of stuff mixed in with this clay, but this area has always been a problem and will continue to be a problem. So you got to do some maintenance on it from time to time. Now, sometimes I'll just bring the tractor down here with the land plane, but this time I wanted to bring the skid loader down, and I kind of knocked the high center off, and I'm mixing this material. There's a lot of good rock in here, and this will last for a while, probably till next spring, and it'll look just the same. Now, every time I work down here on this driveway, people say, why don't you just have it paved? The driveway is over a quarter-mile long. I don't even know. You'd probably be looking at $250,000 to pave this driveway. And I can come down here for a couple hours a year and get it back into shape, which is what I'm doing right now. What I like to do, like when I have the skid loader down here, is you just keep working it back and forth and taking a little bit each time. You know, right in here, I probably already have a foot of material. Now, that's the grade that I want right there. But you just keep going back and forth, and you're mixing that material, you're tracking it in, and you're making it as solid as you can. Let's see. Real low through here. This whole side's higher, you know, and I need to cut this down, fill in the low side, make sure it's higher than the ditch. And once I get this all on the grade that I like, I'll probably go down towards the bottom. There's a whole bunch of excess stone down there. Bring a little bit of that up here, and it should be good for the summer. This gets to the point where it's leaning so bad, like you're in your tractor, and it's a little sketch. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're on this big side hill. Feel a little bit top heavy, but we're gonna get it leveled out here a little bit, make sure it's draining okay, and we should be good. Something else that I always remember about this spot right here, they're not bad yet, it's still too early in the year, but ever since I was a kid, there are always giant horseflies in this area. I have no idea why, but they are always here, and they always will be. Another story, this is a pretty cool one. Years ago, I don't know, 20 years ago, I'm guessing, we had a grouse that was almost like a pet. And this was that grouse's area, from here down to my mom and dad's house. And this thing, one time I was putting a tree stand up right down here, and that grouse would come right up to you. I had to kick it out of the way with my feet, and it would like get up and beat its chest. There were times I was working on this driveway. I had a skid loader, a rental, and it literally landed on my bucket when I stopped and was staring at me. It would go on my mom and dad's porch. It almost went into their house at one time. And we could never figure out what the story was with this grouse. And my dad, I can't remember if it was the Rough Grouse Society or something, but he sent some pictures, got a hold of somebody there, and they came out and they did a story on this grouse. I had thought sometimes they get a little goofy if they eat some like fermented berries or things like that. But this guy said they can become very, very territorial. We thought he was kind of like our buddy, but in reality, he really didn't want us here. This is the way I understand it. But they don't live that long. He was around for a couple years, never saw him again, but he had about I'd say a 5-acre area. If you would drive up the driveway at times, it would swoop down at your windshield. It was crazy. think I about got it. Now, when you look at this, it looks like it's all dirt. Let me show you something. Look what's in the bucket here. It's like a mix of dirt and stone. I've tracked it in pretty well. Maybe the next day or two, I'll get just a couple dump trailer loads of stone tailgated on here real thin. But I think they should be good for a while. But you know what? I give it about 72 hours before an Amazon driver drives into the ditch or something and comes back out in the road or gets stuck. I don't know what the Amazon drivers are like where you are from, but a good many of them around here, not all, but a good many of them, it's pretty rough. But boy, it is a very nice late afternoon. But anyway, before we wrap this up, if you are a subscriber to our channel, double check, make sure you're still subscribed. And if you're not a subscriber and you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will catch you on the next one.